This video is a part of the Google Digital Marketing and E-commerce Certificate, providing you with job-ready skills to start or advance your career in digital marketing and e-commerce. Get access to hands-on activities, quizzes, discussion forums, job search help, and more on Coursera. And you can earn your official certificate. Visit grow.google/digital marketing to enroll in the full learning experience today.
Hello again. Let's do a quick overview of what you'll learn in the following lessons. First, you'll learn how e-commerce works and what type of products or services you can sell online. You'll also learn what the benefits are for selling online. Then you'll learn about the basic terms used in e-commerce and the types of entry-level roles you might apply for. Next, you'll learn how to do market research, including identifying your target audience and conducting product research. Finally, you'll learn about product sourcing and the importance of branding in e-commerce. Sound like a plan? Let's get started. Are you excited to start learning about e-commerce? In this video, we're going to learn what e-commerce means and what it allows you to do. Then we'll go over a few examples of the types of products you can buy or sell with e-commerce. First, let's talk about what e-commerce means. The definition of e-commerce is the buying and selling of goods or services using the internet. It's also commonly called e-com. E-commerce allows you to list products or services on your website and receive payments online from your customers. With a traditional retail store, also called a brick and mortar store, you visit the store in person, shop for a product on the shelves, and observe the product more closely or try it on in the dressing room. You may also ask a store employee for help in finding or choosing a product. Then you carry the product to the register and pay for it before leaving the store with your purchase. With an e-commerce store, you visit online, perhaps after searching for a product on Google or clicking on an ad in social media. You shop by navigating the web pages, adding a product to your virtual shopping cart, and then paying for the product through a digital checkout system. When your order is ready, the product is shipped to your address or sent to a specific location for you to pick it up. The types of products sold online can vary widely, but they often fall into one of four categories: physical goods, digital goods, services, or software. When you think of e-commerce, you might first think of something like a pair of shoes you buy online and receive in the mail. Those would be considered physical goods, something that you can touch and hold. Other examples of physical goods could be books, appliances, or phone cases. Another example you might think of is an e-book that you purchase online and download to your device. That would be considered a digital product. Other types of digital products could be digital photos, digital music files, or online courses, just like this one. You might also think of something like online tutoring lessons. That would be an example of a service. Other types of services could be health coaching, business consulting, or professional services such as graphic design. Finally, you might think of Adobe Photoshop, which is a software program you can buy online and download to your computer. That would be considered a software product. Most of us have experienced what it's like to be a customer. Now we're exploring what it's like to be the one doing the selling. You can use your own experience as a customer to help you create a better experience for the customers that visit your store, no matter what type of products you're selling. That's all for now. Meet you in the next video. Earlier, you learned what e-commerce is, how it works, and what types of products you can sell online. Now we're going to cover why a business might choose to sell online. How customers shop has changed dramatically in the last few years. The majority of customers research products online before making a purchase, often from their smartphone. They use the internet to help them discover what types of products are available, choose the right product for their needs, and make their final purchase. During this process, they may interact with a brand in multiple channels at different points during the buying process. For example, through social media, a mobile app, website, online chat, or visiting a brick and mortar store. just to name a few. The customer journey is more like a winding road than a straight path from A to B. And this journey increasingly involves searching for products on the internet. That's why it's important for almost any business today to sell their products online. Now, let's go deeper into the benefits of selling online and how a business might choose to do that. A brick and mortar store has a specific location where customers can come to shop. It's typically open during certain hours and is limited by the number of customers who can get to the store's location. An e-commerce store, however, allows customers to shop online from anywhere at any time. You can reach more customers with e-commerce because it doesn't require the customer to live near your store or travel to get there. All they need is a device that's connected to the internet in order to shop there. That's one of the biggest benefits of selling online. E-commerce includes two types of businesses. One type of business sells their products online only. The other type of business sells online as well as in a brick and mortar store. This is also called a click and mortar. An online-only e-commerce store can save on startup and overhead costs since you don't need the retail space or in-store staff. You can start selling new products more quickly because you don't need to stock shelves in stores. Plus, you can more easily adapt to customers' needs by making improvements to the customer experience based on data insights. Another advantage of e-commerce is that you can reach customers looking for specific products that may not be available in local stores. For example, a specific textbook for a class or a swimsuit in the middle of winter. Selling products online allows a business to grow even when it would be difficult to attract enough customers locally. One of the challenges to e-commerce is that since customers aren't able to observe or try out products in store, there may be a higher rate of return. There's also the cost of shipping to consider. If the business offers free shipping, a perk that many customers have come to expect, the extra costs will shrink the company's profits. E-commerce stores also can't offer in-person customer service like brick and mortar stores can. Now, let's consider the reasons why a brick and mortar store might expand to include online sales, which means it would become a click and mortar store. For example, think about a business that already has brick and mortar stores, such as a shop that sells office supplies. Why would they want to make their products available for sale online? One reason is because the majority of customers shop online first, even if they end up buying in store. According to Google, shoppers go online first in over 60% of shopping occasions. Customers want to make sure a business has what they need in stock before they make the trip to the store. Some customers might browse in store to try out a product in person, but then end up buying the product online. They may buy online because they need more time to decide which product is right for them. They may be searching for a better price online than they can find in stores. Or they may want to find out if more options are available online, such as additional sizes or colors. Which brings us to another benefit of selling online. With e-commerce, you can sell a much wider variety of products, more than what would fit on the shelves in a store. Online shopping can also drive in-store traffic if customers are able to buy online and then pick up their order in store. Customers may end up buying additional items while they're in the store. Plus, it allows customers to receive their order the same day without waiting for it to ship to their address. It also saves on shipping costs. If you think about your own experience buying products, I'm sure you can come up with a list of reasons why you might choose to buy online or in store. For example, did you need the product the same day? Was the product available at a store near you? Did you want the convenience of shopping from home? Did you want to interact with the product or get help in person? All of these are reasons to keep in mind when it comes to serving your customers. Both brick and mortar and e-commerce stores are valuable, but increasingly, customers expect to be able to browse inventory and buy products online, even if you have a brick and mortar store. That's why having an e-commerce presence is important for almost any business. Now that we've covered the benefits of selling online, you're ready to learn about the basics of e-commerce. Now that you have a better understanding of why e-commerce is important, it's time to move on to the basics of e-commerce. In this video, you'll learn about the common terms, tools, and platforms used in e-commerce. You'll also get an overview of the entry-level roles available in e-commerce. Let's get started by covering some of the basic terminology used in e-commerce. You'll need to understand a few terms that relate to how customers navigate through an e-commerce website. First, an e-commerce store receives visits to their website. Added together, those visits make up a site's traffic. Traffic is the number of visits that a website receives. The first page a visitor encounters when they go to a website is called a landing page. The landing page could be a home page, a product page, or any other page on your website. When a customer visits a website, you want them to take a certain action, such as buying a product or signing up for an email list. A call to action is the instruction provided to the customer that tells them what to do next. For example, a call to action could be the Add to Cart button on a product page. Or it could be a link that says, sign up for email on the website's homepage. Next, the customer adds a product to their digital shopping cart. This is the virtual equivalent of a physical shopping cart. It keeps track of all of the items the customer plans to purchase. When the customer is finished shopping, they can begin the online checkout process. The customer is able to complete their purchase by entering payment information during checkout. This is done through the payment service provider, which is a secure way to process transactions online. The payment service provider allows an e-commerce store to accept and process multiple types of payments, such as credit cards, debit cards, or third-party payment services. When a customer makes a purchase, this action gets tracked as a conversion, which is the completion of an activity that contributes to the success of a business. You may remember learning about conversions in previous lessons. Conversion happens when a customer completes the action you wanted them to take. This could be signing up for an email list, filling out a contact form, or spending a certain amount of time on the site. However, in e-commerce, conversion most often refers to the process of turning a visitor into a paying customer. This happens when a customer makes a purchase on your site by completing the checkout process. Now that you understand more about the basic terms used in e-commerce, let's take time to explore the different tools and platforms you might come across. An e-commerce store is built on an e-commerce platform, which is a software application that allows you to sell products or services online. A popular platform many e-commerce stores use is Shopify. With a platform like Shopify, you can manage your website, conduct marketing campaigns, manage shipping and fulfillment, set up payment services, review analytics, and more, all in one place. Besides an e-commerce platform, you may also use business tools such as Salesforce, which helps businesses manage and monitor different aspects of their company, including sales, marketing, analytics, and customer service. You may also use tools specific to the needs of your role within a project, such as advertising, social media, or email marketing. Some of those tools you learned about in earlier lessons. Understanding how to use basic office software is also important. The tools you need to be familiar with may be different depending on the type of position you find yourself in. Let's review some of the most common entry-level positions in e-commerce now so that you have an idea of what might interest you. Some of the entry-level positions you might apply for include e-commerce analyst, e-commerce specialist, e-commerce associate, or digital marketing specialist. These types of roles may involve adding or updating products on an e-commerce website, helping with online campaigns, measuring the success of the company's goals through analytics, managing email campaigns, monitoring the company's social media accounts, running paid ads, and more. The knowledge and skills you're gaining in this program will help prepare you for one of these entry-level positions. You're already well on your way to understanding the basics of e-commerce. You've learned a lot about the basic terms, tools, and strategies used in e-commerce. Now it's time to explore one of the first steps to build a successful e-commerce business: market research. What is market research? Market research is the process of gathering information about consumers' needs and preferences. Why is this process important? Because the information gathered helps determine the e-commerce store's potential for growth and success within a specific business and industry. I actually started my career in market research. Research helps you understand more about your target audience, such as who they are, where they shop, what else are they considering. Market research helps you to know how to reach your desired audience with the right message at the right time. If your job in e-commerce is at a smaller company, you may be directly involved in doing market research. If your job is at a larger company, there may be a specific team that handles the research. Whether or not you're directly involved in doing the market research, the results can help you better understand your customers and how to engage them. There are two types of market research. The first is primary research, or research that's done by you. Primary research could include conducting surveys or interviews, direct observation, or focus groups. The results of these research are valuable because you can gather information so that it's very specific to a business. However, it takes a larger budget and more time. The second type of research is secondary research, or research done by others. It involves gathering information from published sources, such as consumer insights, surveys, interviews, or other resources to conduct secondary research. Secondary research is the more budget-friendly option since the research information is already available online or other published sources. It also requires less time since you don't have to do the initial research yourself. The downside is that the information you find might not be as specific to a particular business as you'd like, or the market may have changed since the study was completed. Let's use an analogy to describe how these two types of research are different. If you send out a survey asking people what type of fruit they love the most, that would be gathering primary research. You're able to ask personally for the information that you want to know. If you search online for the most popular types of fruit and find a pie chart describing the outcome of a study that's already been completed, that would be secondary research. Someone else gathered the data and published the results, which you can use in your research. Now that you understand primary and secondary research, let's move on to the types of information you need to gather when you're doing market research. There are three main areas you want to focus on: the market size, target audience, and competition. First, let's cover market size, which is the total number of potential customers within a specific industry. In determining market size, here are the questions you're looking to answer. Is there a large enough demand for the type of product you're selling? If so, how much competition exists in the market already? Is there room for growth? Second, you need to consider your target audience, the group of people most likely to purchase a company's products. Does your target audience want to buy this type of product? Is the product in their price range or budget? And finally, you'll need to understand the competition, or the other sellers that exist already in the market. Who are your most important competitors? How can you differentiate your business from the competition and provide a better product or experience? All of these questions help you form a better understanding of your industry and your customers. Your research findings will help you make better decisions in all areas of your business, including the types of products that you sell, the prices that you set, and how you market to customers. You'll learn more about why market research is important and how to do it later. You'll also learn how to identify your target audience. Meet you in the next video. Now that you understand the concept of market research, let's focus on one of the key components: identifying your target audience. As you learned in earlier lessons, your target audience is the group of people most likely to buy your company's products. Knowing exactly who your target audience is can help you make decisions based on their needs. Your branding, marketing, campaigns, and pricing strategy can all benefit from knowing who you're trying to reach. Identifying your target audience helps you focus specifically on the people likely to buy your product. That way, you have an effective strategy for spending your marketing budget or building a brand that your customers can identify with. The more specific you can be, the better. For example, let's say a retailer that sells affordable custom suits defines their target audience as men between the ages of 30 and 45. This narrows their customer base somewhat, but it's still pretty broad. What if the retailer did more research and discovered that their customers were men between the ages of 30 and 45 with incomes of $100,000 or more who have advanced degree? Their focus starts to become more clear. Then the retailer narrows it down further by discovering that a large majority of their customers are men who travel frequently for their job. The retailer then continues to research and ask questions such as, where do these men shop? Do they make their own decisions about which clothes to buy? Or does someone else help influence the decision? Do they need to pack multiple suits when they travel? In asking questions about their target audience, the retailer needs to be aware of their biases and keep in mind that other groups of customers will shop with them as well. Many people wear suits other than the men that they have identified as their target audience. That's why it's important to use data to better understand who your customers are. All of these factors are useful for understanding your customers in depth. When doing market research, you want to study the demographics of your customer, as well as the things that are important to them. Some important demographics to consider include age, location, income level, education level, and occupation. Other factors to consider include personality, interests, hobbies, values, lifestyle, and behavior. The more you know about your target audience, the easier it will be to build your business and marketing strategies around their needs. That's all for now. Meet you again later. Earlier, you learned how to identify your target audience, the people most likely to buy your products. Now, we're going to take a closer look at product research. We'll be using some of the concepts you learned about market research and applying them to specific products that a company sells. Launching a new product takes time, effort, and money. That's why it's important to find out if there's enough demand for the product before investing time and money into it. Demand refers to how much consumers are willing and able to buy a certain product over a given period of time. Researching demand for a product helps a company answer important questions like, is there enough demand for this product to make it worth selling? If so, is there a reason to believe this level of demand will continue? If the demand is low or non-existent, the company would need to build up demand for that product if they still want to sell it. Or they may decide it's not worth selling. If the demand is extremely high, it could be a sign that competition is intense and advertising costs may be higher. Or it could be a sign that competitors are low on inventory or that the product is new to the market. Let's use the example of the custom suits retailer we discussed earlier to explore how the process of researching demand works. Imagine you're working for this retailer in an e-commerce role. The retailer wants to increase the revenue per order by encouraging customers to add additional products to their cart. They may ask you to research the demand for items like belts, dress shirts, and neckties. How would you go about researching these products? You can start by using a tool like Google Trends to find out how much demand there is for the products. Using Google Trends, you can compare multiple products and find out the interest level in these products over time. You can narrow your search to a specific region or state where your target audience lives. Or you can search more broadly across a nation or worldwide. To get a better idea of how the interest in a product changes over time, set the time range to cover the past 5 years. The chart will help you figure out if demand for a product is stable, growing, or shrinking. The chart will also show you spikes in demand if there's seasonality for a product. A tool like Google Trends will show you interest in a product over time for a specific region, but you'll also need to consider how this applies to your target audience. Is this the type of product they would buy? Does it meet a need or solve a problem for them? Asking these questions about your target audience and using tools like Google Trends will help you determine the demand for a product. But you also want to make sure the product is profitable. Let's examine how to determine the profitability of a product soon after it launches. Imagine the company you work for has been selling a new line of custom suits for the past 6 months. Now they want to figure out if it's worth continuing to sell the new belts. As part of your job, you've been asked to provide information about how the new product line is performing. One of the ways you can figure out whether a product is worth selling is to determine the net profit for the product. Net profit is the amount of money left over after expenses are paid. With net profit, the questions you're looking to answer is, can you sell the product at a competitive price and still make enough money on it? You can calculate the net profit by determining the total revenue for a product and then subtracting the total expenses. The first step is to figure out the total revenue. You can do this by multiplying the number of products sold by the average selling price. The second step is to figure out the total expenses. These should include all of the costs associated with the product. For example, you'll need to include the cost of goods sold, packaging, shipping, fulfillment, advertising, return costs, and any additional expenses. The final step is to subtract the total expenses from the total revenue. The result is your net profit. Let's use the same example we used earlier to demonstrate how this works. For instance, let's say the custom suits retailer sold 500 custom suits in the last 6 months for $800 each. 500 times $800 equals $400,000. That's the total revenue for the product. The total expenses include the cost of goods, packaging, shipping, fulfillment, advertising, the cost of products returned, and any additional expenses. Those come to $280,000. Now that you know the total revenue and total expenses, you can calculate the net profit. $400,000 minus $280,000 equals $120,000. After that, you can take things a step further by calculating the net profit margin, which turns the net profit into a percentage. This makes it easier to compare the profitability of different products, no matter how much they cost. The net profit margin takes your net profit and divides it by the total revenue. And then you multiply the results by 100. The net profit margin for the custom suits example is 30%. Generally, the higher the net profit margin, the better. However, a lower profit margin can still be profitable if the product drives a high enough volume of sales and the advertising costs stay relatively low. Now, let's consider another aspect of determining how a product is performing. As you learned in the previous course on analytics, return on ad spend, or ROAS, is an important metric to measure the success of your advertising. After launching a new product, it's helpful to track the ROAS over a period of time to determine if the company's advertising dollars are well spent. As a reminder, ROAS can be calculated as the number of products sold times the cost per unit divided by the ad spend. Let's figure out the ROAS for the new line of custom suits to get an idea of how well the advertising is performing. For example, let's say 450 custom suits were sold for $800 each to customers who clicked on the company's ads. That means the advertising revenue is $360,000. The total cost for advertising was $45,000 over the past 6 months. Now you can take the revenue, which we calculated at $360,000, and divide it by the cost, $45,000. The result is your return on ad spend, which is $8. To recap, net profit helps you determine if the product as a whole is profitable, while ROAS helps you determine if your advertising for the product is profitable. Both are helpful to consider in determining whether a product is worth selling. Great work! You're well on your way to understanding and applying important strategies for e-commerce. Earlier, we covered how to research products in order to make sure they'll be successful in the market. One step in that process was to figure out the profit margin. That includes factoring in the cost for packaging, shipping, and fulfillment. These costs depend largely on how the company decides to source their products. Product sourcing, or how a business acquires the products they sell to customers, is a key factor in how an e-commerce business operates. Imagine a business that wants to sell mattresses online, for example. There are three main choices when it comes to sourcing their products. First, the company can design and create its own custom mattresses, either in-house or by partnering with a manufacturer. This requires a large amount of time, expense, and commitment up front. The benefit, however, is that it gives the company more control over the design and quality of its products. It also allows the company to create a unique product that fills a specific need in the market. Plus, it can allow for higher profit margins since the company itself owns the product. Second, the company can partner with a vendor or a wholesale supplier to sell mattresses made by other companies. This option allows the company to sell products from brands that customers already know and trust. Another benefit is that it's less time-consuming and expensive than sourcing custom products. Finally, the mattress company can outsource their product fulfillment by partnering with a drop shipper. Drop shipping is a fulfillment method in which products are shipped from the supplier directly to the consumer. This is the fastest way to bring a product to market, since the drop shipper handles all of the inventory, shipping, and fulfillment needs. The mattress company doesn't have to purchase mattresses in advance, store them in a warehouse, or ship them to customers. The downside of drop shipping is that the profit margins are usually slim, and a company's reputation depends on the quality of the drop shipper's work. Customers may love the product itself, but they won't be happy about a product that arrives damaged or in the wrong color. As you've learned, the product sourcing model that a company chooses can affect multiple aspects of their business. These include product availability and inventory, profit margins, shipping options, and warehousing needs. The product sourcing model also affects the amount of control a company has over the reputation of its brand. We'll talk more about branding later. In the meantime, you'll learn more about product research and sourcing. You've come a long way already. Keep up the great work. You've learned a lot about the basics of e-commerce so far. You've also learned about branding in earlier lessons. Now you're going to learn more about branding and how it ties into multiple aspects of e-commerce. Branding means to promote a product or service by identifying it with a particular brand. Branding isn't just about a company's logo or its name. At its core, branding is about how customers feel about a company and the products it sells. It's about how they treat their customers and how they make things right when there's a mistake. It's the story behind how the company got started, and it's about how customers connect with the values that the company supports. Almost every aspect of an e-commerce store reflects on a company's brand identity. Although we don't have time to cover all of those aspects, we'll explore a few of them in detail now. Let's start with a company's website. The look and feel of a website is part of what affects brand identity. The website's design, photography, font style, and color scheme all impact how customers feel about a brand. The same is true for the voice and tone of the words used on the website, and also for the design and wording used in all advertising and marketing channels. Another big piece of branding is the quality of the products that a company sells. Do customers feel they can rely on those products? Do the products make their lives easier? Do they fit the customer's lifestyle? Quality is also important when it comes to customer service. For instance, is the customer able to easily get the help that they need? And what if something goes wrong? For example, let's say a customer receives a damaged product. The way a company responds and how fast they respond will impact its brand. A company that cares about its brand will do what it takes to make things right. They'll make sure the customer is satisfied with the final outcome. If that happens, even a negative experience can positively impact how the customer feels about a brand. Including helpful information on the website can also impact a company's brand in a positive way. For example, the website should make it easy for customers to find and fill out a contact form if they have questions or issues. It should also include links to helpful information, such as frequently asked questions or self-help articles that allow customers to troubleshoot issues on their own. And it should include clear, easy to understand instructions for returns and exchanges. A generous return policy can improve customers' perception of a brand. If a company backs up the products it sells, customers feel an increased sense of trust. They're more likely to feel confident about buying a product if there's an option to return or exchange it. The website also needs to tell the story behind how the company got started and what's important to them. Storytelling is an important part of branding. Customers want to understand the values that a company upholds. They want to know how the company is making a difference in the world. Research indicates that 77% of consumers buy from brands that share their values. Customers want to feel good about their purchase. Knowing a company's story and identifying with its values can help strengthen a customer's relationship with a brand. A company's brand needs to be centered around its customers. That's why it's important for a company to know who its target audience is, so that it can build a brand around the customer's needs and desires. Do the company's values match the values of its customers? And do the company's actions prove it? For example, a pet supply company whose customers are avid pet owners might donate a portion of their revenue to support pet adoption. Customers will feel good knowing that a portion of their purchase goes to help pets in need. Branding is about establishing an emotional connection with customers, providing them with the best experience possible. It's about sharing the company's story, serving customers well, and connecting with customers' values. In the next section, we'll review the topics that we've covered so far. Then you'll learn about what goes into building an e-commerce store.
Congratulations on finishing this video from the Google Digital Marketing and E-commerce Certificate. Access the full experience on Coursera, including job search help, and start earning the official certificate by clicking the icon or the link in the description. Watch the next video in the course by clicking here, and subscribe to our channel for more lessons from Google Career Certificate.